I have seen a lot in my lifetime. I have watched friends laugh, love, and live full lives, only to be taken suddenly by something they never saw coming. A heart attack. I have sat in the waiting rooms of hospitals, gripping the arms of chairs, praying for a miracle, only to hear the doctor say, "If only we had caught it earlier." I have held the hands of strong men and women, their faces lined with years of wisdom, now etched with pain, wondering how they missed the signs their own bodies were screaming at them. And I am here to tell you that one of the most common pains you feel, the one you brush off as nothing, could be the very thing trying to save your life. I know what you are thinking. I feel aches and pains all the time. It is just part of getting older. That is what I used to believe too. A little discomfort here, a little stiffness there. I would shift in my chair, rub my arm, maybe take a deep breath, and carry on. But that is the problem. We get so used to ignoring pain that we forget pain is not the enemy. Pain is the warning. And there is one pain, one nagging, seemingly harmless pain, that too many people dismiss until it is too late. It starts subtly. A dull ache in the chest. Maybe it is not even in the chest. Maybe it is in the arm, the back, the neck. It comes and goes, never staying long enough to demand attention, just long enough to be annoying. You stretch, shake it off, tell yourself it is just a sore muscle. And maybe it is. But what if it is not? What if that pain is your heart fighting to be heard? What if that ache is the only chance you have to stop what is coming? I will never forget the day my friend Henry sat across from me, rubbing his shoulder absent-mindedly as we talked. "Must have slept funny," he said with a chuckle. That was Henry. Always brushing things off. A strong man who had worked hard his whole life, who had seen tougher days than most, who had never been the kind to complain. He did not look sick. He did not look weak. But less than a week later, Henry was gone. A heart attack. And when I spoke to his wife, she told me something that still haunts me. "He mentioned that pain again the night before it happened," she said. "I told him to see a doctor, but he waved me off." That pain. That silent warning. That one last chance he did not take. It is easy to ignore something when it does not scream at you. A sharp pain makes you jump. A burning sensation makes you stop. But a dull ache, a mild discomfort, something that feels like nothing more than an annoyance, that is easy to push aside. And that is why it is so dangerous. It does not demand your attention, so you do not give it any. But that kind of pain, the kind that lingers, the kind that comes and goes, the kind that seems harmless, that is the kind that takes people like Henry. That is the kind that takes people like you and me. I know what you are thinking. I feel that pain sometimes. What if it is nothing? And you are right. Sometimes it is nothing. But what if it is not? What if ignoring it is the biggest mistake you ever make? What if paying attention, just this once, saves your life? The truth is, a heart attack does not always start with clutching your chest and collapsing to the floor like in the movies. It is sneaky. It whispers instead of shouts. It tests you, seeing how much you will ignore before it strikes. And too many people give it the chance. That dull ache in your arm, the one you think is just from lifting something the wrong way. That tightness in your back, the one you blame on an old injury. That pressure in your chest that you tell yourself is just heartburn. Those could all be signs. Not just signs of any heart attack. Signs of the one that could end your story. I do not say this to scare you. I say this because I have lived long enough to know that fear is not the enemy. Ignorance is. And I have seen too many people I care about choose to ignore the one thing that could have saved them. You do not have to be one of them. You have a choice. Right now. In this moment. You can choose to listen. I will tell you something I have learned. The people who survive heart attacks are not always the ones who are the strongest. They are the ones who pay attention. The ones who listen when their body speaks. The ones who act before it is too late. I want you to be one of those people. I want you to remember this conversation the next time you feel that pain and ask yourself, what if this is my warning? I know how easy it is to brush things off. To say, I will deal with it later. But later is not promised. Later is a lie we tell ourselves to feel better about doing nothing. And I have seen too many good people run out of later. Do not be one of them. If you feel something, say something. If something does not feel right, do not wait. Do not assume. Do not let pride or fear or stubbornness be the thing that stops you from seeing another day. I have been lucky. I have had close calls. I have felt that pain and I have made the choice to listen. And because of that, I am still here. I am still able to sit here and tell you this story. To warn you the way I wish someone had warned Henry. The way I wish someone had warned all the people I have lost. So here is what I want you to do. The next time you feel that pain, that dull, nagging, easy to ignore pain, do not ignore it. Do not tell yourself it is nothing. Do not wait until it is too late. Go to the doctor. Get checked. Make sure that pain is not trying to save your life. Because if it is, you will never forgive yourself for ignoring it. I do not know how much time I have left. None of us do. But I do know this. I am going to do everything in my power to make sure I am here for as long as I can be. And I want the same for you. Life is too precious. The people who love you deserve more time with you. You deserve more time. And if all it takes is paying attention to one small pain, then that is the easiest decision you will ever make. Do not be like Henry. Be the one who listens. Be the one who acts. Be the one who lives. Because sometimes, the quietest warnings are the ones that matter the most. Now, let's clear some common questions. If someone experiences this pain but is unsure if it is serious, what are the first immediate steps they should take? I have lived long enough to know that life does not always come with clear warnings. Sometimes danger creeps in quietly, testing your patience, waiting to see if you will pay attention. And when it comes to your heart, the warnings are often whispers rather than shouts. That is why I want to talk to you about something that could save your life. If you ever feel a strange pain, a discomfort that you cannot quite explain, and you are unsure if it is serious, do not waste time wondering. I have seen too many people hesitate, convincing themselves that it is nothing, only to regret it when it is too late. The first thing you must do is stop whatever you are doing. Do not brush it off and try to carry on with your day. Your body is speaking to you, and the least you can do is listen. Sit down. Take a breath. Pay attention to what you are feeling. Is the pain dull or sharp? Does it spread anywhere, like your arm, neck, or back? Do you feel pressure, as if someone is squeezing your chest? These are questions you need to answer immediately, because knowing them could mean the difference between life and death. If you are feeling any pain in your chest, even if it is mild, do not assume it is just indigestion or a muscle strain. That is the mistake too many people make. I once had a friend, John, who swore up and down that his chest pain was just heartburn. He took some antacids and went to bed. By morning, he was gone. If he had taken his pain seriously, he might still be here. Do not gamble with your life. The next thing you need to do is check for other symptoms. Are you feeling short of breath? Are you sweating even though you are not doing anything strenuous? Do you feel dizzy or lightheaded? Is your heart beating too fast or irregularly? These signs might seem small on their own, but together, they could be the clearest warning your body will ever give you. Now here is where most people make their biggest mistake. They wait. They tell themselves, let me just see if this goes away. They sit there, hoping that if they ignore it long enough, it will disappear. But a heart attack does not care about your schedule. It does not care if you have plans tomorrow. It does not care if you are too busy to deal with it. Time is everything when it comes to your heart. The longer you wait, the more damage is done. And sometimes, waiting even a few extra minutes can be the difference between surviving and not. If the pain lasts more than a few minutes, or if it comes and goes, you need to act. Do not stand up and try to walk it off. Do not go searching for excuses. Call for help. If you are alone, dial emergency services immediately. If you are with someone, tell them what is happening. Do not be embarrassed. Do not downplay it. Say it out loud. I think something is wrong with my heart. I have known too many people who were too proud to admit they needed help, and pride does not matter when your life is at stake. If you have aspirin nearby, take one. Chew it, do not swallow it whole. Aspirin helps thin the blood and can slow down a heart attack in its tracks. But do not waste time looking for aspirin if it is not within reach. The priority is getting medical help as fast as possible. Now I need to tell you something important. If you are waiting for help to arrive, stay as calm as you can. Panic only makes things worse. Breathe slowly. Do not move around too much. Do not try to drive yourself to the hospital. I have seen people collapse behind the wheel because they thought they could make it on their own. That is a mistake you cannot afford to make. I know what you might be thinking. But what if it is nothing? What if I go to the hospital and they tell me I just pulled a muscle? I will tell you this. That is the best possible outcome. I would rather you walk out of that hospital feeling a little embarrassed than not walk out at all. I have never met a doctor who was angry at someone for being too cautious about their heart. But I have met plenty of families who lost someone because they waited too long. If you are reading this and thinking about a time when you ignored a pain like this and it went away, I need you to understand something. Just because you got lucky once does not mean you will get lucky again. Heart problems do not follow a schedule. You might have had a warning before, but the next time could be the real thing. Do not let your past experiences trick you into thinking you are invincible. None of us are. And here is something else to remember. Even if it is not a heart attack, that does not mean you should ignore it. Chest pain, discomfort, or unusual fatigue can all be signs of heart disease, and heart disease does not go away on its own. If you have had any kind of chest pain, even if it went away, you need to see a doctor. Get your heart checked. Do not wait until you are in the back of an ambulance to take your health seriously. I have lost too many good people to heart attacks. And the worst part is, most of them did not have to die. They had warnings. They had chances. They just did not take them. I do not want you to be one of them. I want you to be the person who listens. The person who acts. The person who survives. So remember this. If you feel that pain, do not ignore it. Sit down. Pay attention to your body. Look for other symptoms. Do not wait to see if it goes away. Call for help. Take aspirin if you can. Stay calm. And most importantly, do not let fear or pride stop you from making the right decision. Because when it comes to your heart, there is no such thing as being too careful. The only mistake you cannot afford to make is doing nothing. I hope you never have to use this advice. I hope you live a long life without ever feeling that pain. But if the day comes when you do, I hope you remember this conversation. And I hope you choose to act. Because the choice you make in those moments could be the most important choice of your life. Are there real-life stories of people who survived because they paid attention to this pain, and what can we learn from them? Ah, my friend, you have asked a question that stirs the very soul. A question that peels back the veil of time and forces us to stare into the eyes of fate itself. Are there real-life stories of people who survived because they paid attention to their pain? The answer is not just yes, but an emphatic, undeniable, and resounding yes. Pain is not merely an enemy. It is a voice. A whisper. A warning. Ignore it, and the abyss may swallow you whole. Listen to it, and it may just save your life. Let me tell you about a man named Jack. A strong man. The kind of man who believed he could push through anything. He was working long hours at a construction site. The sun was relentless. The air was thick. The weight of his tools pressed down on him like an anchor. One day, he felt a sharp pain in his chest. A tightness. A discomfort. But he ignored it. Just a little exhaustion, he told himself. Nothing a good night's rest won't fix. But the pain persisted. It grew. It whispered. It pleaded. Finally, something in him, a voice, an instinct, an ancient wisdom, forced him to stop. He drove himself to the hospital. They barely got to him in time. The doctor told him he had been moments away from a massive heart attack. Had he ignored the pain a little longer, he would have fallen right there on the job, never to rise again. What can we learn from Jack? That pain is not to be dismissed. It is not weakness. It is wisdom in disguise. Then there is Maria. A mother. A fighter. A woman who had spent her whole life caring for others. She always put herself last. One evening, as she was preparing dinner, she felt a strange pain in her lower abdomen. Not unbearable, but odd. Persistent. A quiet drumbeat. It's nothing, she thought. Just a little indigestion. But the pain did not go away. It gnawed at her. It clung to her. She could have ignored it, like so many times before, but something, perhaps the spirit of her ancestors, perhaps the weight of all the times she had silenced her own needs, made her pick up the phone and call her doctor. Tests were done. Faces grew serious. She had an ovarian cyst that was on the verge of rupturing. Had she ignored it a day longer, the internal bleeding could have taken her away from her children. She survived because she listened. Because she did not silence the voice of her body. And then there was Samuel. A quiet man. A thinker. A man whose hands had built houses, carved wood, and held the fragile weight of newborn life. He was a carpenter. A patient man. But one day, as he worked on a piece of oak, he felt something strange in his right hand. A tingling. A numbness. At first, he thought it was just the strain of years. The natural wear and tear of a life well lived. But the numbness grew. It crept up his arm. It whispered that something was not right. Others would have shrugged it off. Dismissed it as age. But Samuel knew better. He sought help. The doctors found the beginning of a stroke. The early signs. The warning bell. Had he ignored it, he could have lost his ability to speak. To move. To carve the wood that had been his life's work. Because he listened, he got the treatment he needed, and he walked out of that hospital still a whole man. You see, pain is not just something to be endured. It is a messenger. It is the body's way of crying out, "Look at me. Pay attention. Something is wrong." Too often, we have been taught to push through it. To silence it. To swallow it down like bitter medicine. But those who survive, the ones who live to tell their stories, are the ones who listen. The ones who recognize that pain is not there to weaken them, but to protect them. Even in the wilderness, the wise survive by listening. The hunter who feels the sting of a thorn in his foot and stops to pull it out is the one who lives. The fool who ignores it, who trudges forward in defiance, soon finds infection creeping up his leg. Nature does not reward the stubborn. It rewards the aware. There was a young woman named Elise. A runner. A dreamer. She lived for the rhythm of her feet against the pavement. One day, she felt a sharp pain in her knee. A pain that came and went. It's nothing, she told herself. Just a little soreness. But the pain grew. It deepened. It warned. She could have pushed through. She could have drowned it in determination. But instead, she listened. She went to a doctor. They found a stress fracture in her bone. Had she continued running, she would have shattered it completely. Ended her running career forever. But because she listened, she healed. She recovered. She ran again. And so, my friend, the lesson is simple but vital. Pain is not to be feared. It is not an enemy. It is a guide. It has saved countless lives. It has whispered warnings in the ears of the wise and watched in sorrow as the foolish ignored it. There is no heroism in pretending it does not exist. There is no strength in silencing its voice. The true strength lies in listening. In acting. In understanding that the body is not working against us, but for us. If there is one thing I have learned in my years, it is this. The ones who survive are not always the strongest. Not always the fastest. Not always the bravest. They are the ones who listen. The ones who pay attention to the subtle shifts. The ones who respect the warnings given to them. And if ever you find yourself standing at the crossroads of pain and ignorance, I hope you remember these stories. I hope you choose to listen. Because sometimes, the difference between life and death is nothing more than the willingness to hear what your body is trying to tell you. How can someone who has already had a heart attack recognize this pain earlier the next time, potentially preventing another crisis? Ah, my friend, you are asking a question that is not just important, but urgent. A question that could mean the difference between life and death. A heart attack is not just an event. It is a warning. A message from the body that something is not right. And for those who have already walked through the fire once, the path ahead is clearer. The body remembers. The heart remembers. The trick is to listen. To recognize the whispers before they turn into shouts. To see the storm gathering before it breaks. The first thing you must understand is that the pain of a heart attack is not always the same. It does not always come like lightning. Not always like a crushing weight on the chest. Sometimes it is subtle. A discomfort. A tightness that comes and goes. A pressure that feels like something is squeezing but not quite hurting. And it is in this subtlety that danger lies. Too many people dismiss it. Too many people tell themselves, it's just indigestion. It's just a little fatigue. But those who have already faced this enemy once must know better. They must learn to recognize even the smallest signs. There was a man I knew. Strong as an ox. Proud. Stubborn. He had survived his first heart attack by sheer luck. He had felt pain in his arm that day. A strange aching that ran from his shoulder down to his fingers. But he ignored it. Pushed through. It was only when his chest began to tighten, when sweat poured down his face like rain, that he finally understood something was wrong. He made it to the hospital just in time. They saved him. But the lesson came later. Because he knew that if he had paid attention to that arm pain earlier, he might have avoided the worst of it. And so, after that day, he became vigilant. When he felt even the faintest ache in his arm, he did not hesitate. He rested. He checked his pulse. He breathed deeply. He called his doctor. And because he learned, because he listened, he never had another heart attack again. Another man, a good friend of mine, had a different experience. His heart attack did not start in his chest at all. It started in his jaw. A dull, nagging pain that traveled up the side of his face. He thought it was a toothache. He thought perhaps he had been grinding his teeth at night. But something in his gut told him otherwise. A feeling. A knowing. He went to the emergency room, and they told him he was on the verge of another attack. They caught it before it could do its worst. Because he had already lived through it once, he recognized that something was not right. And that recognition saved his life. The truth is, pain is not always the only warning. Sometimes the signs come in different ways. A sudden fatigue that feels like you have been drained of all your strength. A dizziness that comes out of nowhere. A shortness of breath, even when you have not been moving. Cold sweats. Nausea. These are all the body's ways of waving the red flag, of pleading, pay attention. The wise ones, the ones who have already faced this battle, must not make the mistake of dismissing these signs. They must remember that the body does not play games. It speaks with purpose. And when it speaks, it is best to listen. I once met a woman who had survived her first heart attack and swore she would never be caught off guard again. She became a master of knowing her own body. She kept a journal. She wrote down every little change she noticed. When her heart felt steady. When it felt off. When she felt a strange flutter, even if it was brief. And in doing so, she learned to recognize the smallest shifts. One day, she felt a heaviness in her chest that was not quite pain but not quite normal either. She waited a few minutes. It did not pass. She took her blood pressure. It was high. She did not hesitate. She went straight to the hospital. The doctors told her she had arrived just in time. Another attack had been on the way. But because she knew herself, because she trusted her instincts, she caught it before it could strike. There is something else to remember. Those who have already had a heart attack are at greater risk for another. The heart has already been weakened. The body has already shown that it is vulnerable. This means that even smaller signs, even whispers of discomfort, must be taken seriously. There is no such thing as overreacting when it comes to the heart. Better to be cautious and live than to be careless and fall. And let us not forget the role of prevention. Recognizing pain is important. But avoiding the pain in the first place is even better. Those who have survived must not return to old habits. They must not think they have been given a second chance just to waste it. The heart needs care. It needs rest. It needs the right food. The right movement. The right attention. A life of stress, of neglect, of pushing too hard, will only lead to another crisis. And the second time, the body may not be as forgiving. A man I once knew changed his entire life after his heart attack. He had spent years working late, eating whatever was fast and easy, never exercising. His heart attack nearly took him. But when he survived, he swore to himself, never again. He started walking every morning. He ate foods that strengthened his heart instead of burdening it. He found ways to ease his stress. And most importantly, he listened. He paid attention to his body in a way he never had before. And because of this, he lived many more years, strong and full of life. So what is the lesson in all of this? It is simple but crucial. Those who have already had a heart attack have been given a warning. A gift. A second chance. But only if they choose to learn from it. Pain is not the only sign. It may come in the arms, the jaw, the stomach, the back. It may come as fatigue, as dizziness, as breathlessness. It may come quietly, or it may come as a roar. But it will come. And when it does, those who are wise will not wait. They will not dismiss. They will not gamble with their lives. They will act. Because in the end, survival is not just about strength. It is about awareness. It is about knowing oneself. It is about respecting the body and the messages it sends. And if there is one thing I have learned in my many years, it is this. The ones who live the longest, the ones who survive the odds, are not the ones who ignore their pain. They are the ones who recognize it, who respect it, who use it as a guide. And if you, my friend, have already faced this battle once, then take this knowledge and carry it with you. Let it be your shield. Let it be your wisdom. And above all, let it be the reason you live to tell your story for many years to come. If you liked today's discussion, don't forget to like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to stay updated with every video we release. And yes, don't forget to share your experiences and thoughts in the comments. Every comment is special to us. Your feedback helps us improve further. We'll continue to meet you in every new video on this channel, so until next time, take care.